Welcome to Troop 501 D&G's Communication Merit Badge class. This is the first class of a series of classes that will lead you to the successful completion of your Communication Merit Badge. Before beginning this class, please make sure that you have spoken with your Scoutmaster and you have a signed blue card so that we can begin our journey together. The other things that you want to do to make yourself be prepared is you want to have your merit badge pamphlet. So this lists all the requirements for the merit badge. It has the majority of the information that you will need for the requirements within it. So read it, and it has a lot of good references to help you with both the merit badge requirements and also to make you a better communicator as a whole that will help you in life. This communication pamphlet is available at the Scout Shop. It's available in your troop library, and we have electronic copies of it on our troop website. If you have any questions, please contact your troop librarian, and if they can't answer it, they can talk to your Scoutmasters about how to get you a copy of that. You should also be able to talk to your counselor, and your counselor will get you all set up. That counselor being me. The other thing then is you're going to want your merit badge workbook. Okay, so again, the merit badge workbook lists all of the requirements of the merit badge. This is not a requirement for you to use it, okay, but this is really a helpful tool, okay, because the workbook goes through, lists the requirements, and then has a space for you to document your work. So if a requirement says to discuss it, you'll still need to discuss, the requirement with your merit badge counselor, but the workbook provides a space for you to write down your answers so that you have it all thought out and ready to discuss. If the requirement says to plan, the workbook provides you good templates to help you plan successfully. So this workbook is very helpful in making sure that you are successful. Again, this workbook can be downloaded if you do a Google search. We also have electronic copies of it on our troop website. And your merit badge counselor, me, should have told you where you can get this. Okay, so please make sure that you are checking your communications, your emails, however it is that you got yourself started in this class for those links to this. Welcome aboard, and let's start our journey. So for our first class, we're going to keep it pretty simple. All right. What we want to do is first start off with a little bit of an introduction with regards to what the Communication Merit Badge is all about. Then we want to start to go through the requirements themselves, and we're going to review them. And I want to make sure that you have a good understanding of what good looks like for completion of the requirements. So what it is that you need to do to be successful. How it is that we interpret those requirements and set those expectations so that you don't come to me, your merit badge counselor, with something that is only partially completed. I want to make sure that you completely understand what good looks like and what success looks like. Okay? Then we'll talk a little bit about the approach and how each requirement will be completed in this class. So there's some different choices that you can make. I'm going to provide you some recommendations, and then we're going to outline a little bit of how is it that you want to do this so that you can complete it. Okay, so a little bit of an introduction. So the Communication Merit Badge, when you look at the Boy Scouts of America's website with regards to the Communication Merit Badge, they quote this, that this clear and concise definition comes from the U.S. Department of Education. Communication focuses on how people use messages to generate meanings within and across various contexts, cultures, channels, and media. The field of communication promotes the effective and ethical practice of human communication. So they define communication with communication. I think we can do better than that. So in my mind, the best ideas cannot be shared unless those ideas can be communicated, in which that idea is shared, received, and understood in the manner that's intended. Okay, so what that means is that I have an idea. I have to be able to communicate that idea that's in my head through various means, whether it's pictures, voice, written language, music. Take that idea, that feeling, that message that I want to convey, and use some sort of medium to convey that to you, the receiver, and you on the receiving end get that same message that I have. You get that same feeling. You get that same understanding. You get that same picture. Whatever it is that I'm trying to communicate, you receive it and understand it in a nearly as much as possible similar fashion. We all interpret things differently. The better we communicate, the clearer we communicate, the better somebody is able to receive that idea, receive that information, and have it be the same as the original communicators. Okay? Good leaders need good communication skills. Great leaders need great communication skills. So again, as a leader, you have ideas, you have vision, but if you cannot communicate that to the people that are on your team, then they have a very difficult time with being able to enact to that vision, to follow that vision, to buy into that vision. So those communication skills are critical for great leaders. Eagle Scouts, Scouts in general, all Scouts are leaders. Eagle Scouts are leaders and must be able to communicate. That's our vision of what an Eagle Scout is in the BSA, and hence the relevance of the Communication Merit Badge. Class is an Eagle required merit badge just because of the importance of communication for leadership. All right, now the fun begins. Requirement number 1, do one of the following. So you've got here 4 different choices. This is a choose your own adventure. You are going to pick one of these and complete it, okay? So choice number 1, or choice A, okay? For one day, keep a log in which you describe your communication activities. Keep track of the time and different ways you spend communicating, such as talking person to person, listening to teachers, listening to the radio or podcast, watching TV, using social media, reading books and other print media, and using any electronic communications device. Discuss with your counselor what your log reveals about the importance of communication in your life. Think of ways to improve your communication skills. So that means you're going to have a log, and it's going to look something like, I get up first thing in the morning. At 6 a.m., I have an alarm clock ringing. And so that alarm clock is my first means of communication, and that's signaling me to get up and get going. Or it could be mom comes in and wakes me up. First form of communication, 2 minutes, 6 a.m. to 6:02. Maybe I've hit the snooze, and now 6:10, I get another 1 minute alarm going off to wake me up, right? Perhaps then from there, I greet my parents, for 1 minute via verbal stuff or shouting downstairs. I greet my siblings, for a minute or two. I hear, the radio playing if we're playing music in the morning, or maybe the TV's on. As I hear that, I am going to then get ready for the day. So it could be that, I'm in the bathroom and I'm going to be brushing my teeth and I read the labels on the toothpaste and things like that. So, to say, what is it I'm doing? I read the labels on this one is shampoo, this one is body wash. Those are all different types of communication telling us which chemical we should be using for which task, and those identifications. We go downstairs, we have a bus that we're catching, we are getting into a car, those cars have signals for fasten seatbelt, maybe there's a radio on and we're listening to the radio playing, we're having conversations with our parents, our siblings, on the bus with our friends, we are driving down the road, there are all sorts of forms of communication, from street signs to tail lights on other vehicles and stuff like that, telling us stop before we hit them and things like that. It's intensive, right? There is a lot of different ways that we communicate amongst ourselves. And that's just getting started. And once you get to school, there's listening teachers, there's maybe watching TV. There's playing video games. There's being on your phone, texting with your friends, or watching social media. Those are all forms. So you want to list every single thing that you encounter and how long do you spend doing that. So this is gonna, yep, you got to be honest here. How much time did I spend watching TV? How much time did I spend watching videos and TikTok and stuff like that? How much time did I spend reading my textbook? Okay. Those are all things that we want to have in our logs. And then we're going to, be self-reflective of what does that tell us about the importance of communication in your life? How many different ways have we run into things? And how is it that we can get better, right, on some of these things? So, did we not spend enough time talking with family to communicate things? Did we spend time arguing because we didn't spend enough time listening or something like that, and communicating those ideas up front? Did we, whatever it may be, there's going to be some self-reflection that comes out of this, on how we communicate and how we can be better, both with listening, paying attention, and sharing thoughts and ideas. Okay, that's A. B, for 3 days, keep a journal of your listening experiences. Identify one example of each of the following and discuss with your counselor when you have listened to: A, obtain information; B, persuaded; C, appreciate or enjoy something; or 4, understand someone's feelings. Okay, so again, this is just keeping a log of just listening. So you're only using one sense. It's not what you see, it's not what you taste, it's not or anything like that. It's what are all the different things that I hear. Okay, for 3 days, these are all the things that I'm hearing. I hear a TV, I hear a car siren, I hear a horn, I hear a siren from a fire truck, I hear a dog barking, I hear birds singing, I hear my siblings, I hear my friends, I hear my parents, I hear my alarm clock, all those different things. Those are all things that we hear. And so examples then of obtaining information. So that could be directions from a teacher. That could be directions from a police officer. It could be directions from your scoutmaster. It could be a direction from your patrol leader. Okay, all these different things is you're receiving information. That's one. All right, you want to flag one of those as obtaining information. Number 2, you want to flag something where you've been persuaded. Okay, so that could be your parents saying why something is important. It could be one of your friends trying to talk you into doing something stupid or talking you out of doing something stupid. Right? There's a number. It could be a commercial on TV that is talking you into buying something. All right. These are all different ways that we try to communicate to people and influence their actions. That's what it comes down to. Persuasion is the art of communicating to somebody in a way that we're able to influence their actions. Okay. Number 3, appreciate or enjoy something. So, did you hear something that struck something to you personally that made you happy? It could be the sound of laughter. It could be a baby cooing. It could be song. It could be birds, singing early in the morning and stuff like that to greet you, to wake you up. It could be, the crack of a baseball bat, when you're, successfully, hitting the ball and you get that feeling of satisfaction from the hearing that crack. Any one of those things. It doesn't need to be your stereotypical. It's what is it from your perspective that is a sound that brought happiness to you. Okay. And the last one is for understand someone's feelings. So this is where active listening comes in. This is where you are going to conscientiously be looking for an opportunity to have somebody sharing their feelings with you. What is it they're trying to share with you? And you're going to actively be listening to what they have to say and have some empathy with regards to how do they feel? What are they trying to express to you? Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they nervous about something? Find an example and write down, hey, I experienced that this person was feeling happy. What makes you say that that person was happy? Write that down. The way they talk, the way their body, you can't talk about body language. What did they say and how they said it that made you think that they were feeling a certain way? Okay. So that's B. That's choice number 2. Your third, choice number C, in a small group setting, meet with other scouts or with friends. Have them share personal stories about significant events in their lives that affect them in some way. Take note of how each scout participates in the group discussion and how effectively each scout communicates their story. Report what you have learned to your counselor about the differences you observed in effective communication. I am not going to recommend that we do this one, right? It takes time for us to get a group of scouts together to sit down and do this. And my other challenge is in order to get something of value out of this, the scouts need to take this responsibly. And so, no offense to everybody as a whole, but when we get everybody together, silliness ensues, and people trying to be cool ensues, and you don't get anything out of this. The intention of this is for you to be understanding that different people communicate in different ways. And a good listener, leader, understands that different people communicate in different ways. So you need to be able to understand how to hear that person and get information out of them. And other times it's also they hear things differently. So it is a two-way type of situation. So it's an important skill set. I'm going to leave that for introduction to leadership training classes. This definitely, the communication merit badge definitely aligns with the goals of that and those communication skills. So I'm going to leave that to that one. So if you want to do this, I can't stop you from doing it, but I'm going to again highly recommend against doing this because I don't think you're going to get the value out of it. Okay. The last one is list as many ways as you can think of to communicate with others, face-to-face, by telephone, by letter, by email, by text, by messages, social media, and so on. For each type of communication, discuss with your counselor an instance when that method might not be appropriate or effective. So again, there's 6 things listed here. I have a list of about 50 different ways that you can communicate. So my expectation is going to be that you're not just going to give me these 6 things or 7 things. You will take this seriously and you will honestly try to get as many as possible. Like I said, I was able to sit down and knock out about 50 things pretty quickly. And they're not non-trivial. These are real means of communicating. And so if you want to do this, you may do so. You need to take it seriously. And I want to see a large list. And I will question that list and see if that is, true, valid means of communication. And then again, we're looking for how that might not be appropriate. So I'm going to give you one, right? Text messages, when you're trying to convey something important, is not always the best way of doing it. Sometimes too, text messages are not the best way when you're trying to joke around or kid with someone, because joking and kidding, there's a lot of body language, there's a lot of tone that's associated with it and things like that. You can hear that jokingness in a person's voice when you're picking on someone. There's not a serious tone to their voice. In a text message, you can't get all of that. You try to put a little emojis with it and different things like that, but it can sometimes be misread, and that's something that can create arguments and break up friendships when it's like, no, that's not what I meant. That's the problem. There's a limitation with the text. You miss all the body language, and body language is what 60-70% of how we communicate. People read that almost as much, if not more, sometimes than the words coming out of our mouth. Okay, so my recommendation is to do A or B. It is a lot of work if you take it seriously, but you get a lot out of it. So it's up to you. But this is something that you can start immediately. So again, this is simply 1 day for requirement 1A or 3 days for requirement 1B. This is something that you can do over the course of a weekend and come to your next class with this completed. So why don't you go out there and get this one done? And the next one is a requirement that is coming back to um, doing things creatively. All right, so this is a creative communications requirement. Okay, yeah, two choices here again. So A, think of a creative way to describe yourself using, for example, a collage, short story, autobiography, drawings, series of photographs, song or skit, and use this aid you created. Make a presentation to your counselor about yourself. So I have seen all sorts of different things, from photo collages to PowerPoint presentations about, hey, here I am, who I am. This is all about being creative to describe yourself. Who are you? How do you see yourself? And how is it that you want others to see you? So you can do that with music, you can do that with pictures, you can do that with art, you can do that with the written word and a short autobiography, kind of thing. But again, I want you to take it seriously. I really want it to be able to understand who you are, what type of person are you, what makes you happy, what values do you have, where do you come from, you know, how do you fit in with your family and friends and stuff like that kind of thing. What brings you happiness? What do you do, for hobbies and stuff like that. This is who are you? So you got to first think about who you are, and then how is it that you want to convey that message. I think that's a really fun one. Put a little bit of work into it. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. Okay. Concept number two, or requirement 2B, is choose a concept, product, or service in which you have great confidence. Build a sales plan based on its good points. Try to persuade the counselor to agree with, use, or buy your concept, product, or service. After your sales talk, discuss with your counselor how persuasive you are. I have had scouts try to do this, but again, it comes down to how serious are you. Some of them come through and say, hey, I got a stick of gum. I want to sell you the gum. You should buy it. It's really great gum. You know what? That's not good enough. You really need to sit down and show that A, this is something that you believe in. B, here's my plan because here's all the positive points of why I believe in this. These are all my selling points. And then take those selling points and figure out how is it that you're going to communicate. Demonstrations, photos, words, song, whatever it is. I mean, that's what a person does when they're creating an advertisement. Is they're giving you a reason for why you should do this. It's not, hey, buy this, trust me, it's great. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. No, no, no. You have to sell me on it. What's my return on investment? What am I getting for the money that I'm putting on it? Again, I would recommend A, but I have had scouts do B. And I think one of them that was very creative was a roll of Troop 501 paper towels. But it was something that they didn't, they intended at first for it to be silly, and I rejected them the first time. But then they came back and they actually put together, why is it that this, roll of paper towels has value and that we need that for supporting of our campouts, and why we should then get this. And it came out to be a valuable pitch. Okay, and some things that, yep, that's something that we definitely need to do and we should be buying for all the right reasons. Again, first time didn't pass because it was silly. Second time was completing the exercise and the intent of the exercise. Okay, start thinking about this. This is something that you should be able to get done not your first week, but your second week at the latest. Number three, this is the one that scouts struggle with probably the most. And they shouldn't. This is the one that is easy and straightforward. It is write a 5-minute speech, give it at a meeting of a group. Okay. So first part, choose a topic. What is it that you can talk for 5 minutes about? And it needs to be Scout appropriate. Okay. So think about something that you are passionate about that you could go on and on and on about. Okay. So that's the first step. The second step, then, write it down. Okay. Don't just wing this. You want to go through and write a good speech, an introduction to the topic, expand upon that topic and why we care. What's the message that you're trying to get across? And a summary at the end of what it was that you were trying to explain and what we were supposed to get out of it. And hopefully that was the case that you were able to execute. Okay. So you repeat things 3 times, right? Tell them what you're going to hear. Tell them what they're hearing. Tell them what they were told. All right, before they totally understand and get it. Okay. You're going to put that together. You're going to practice it with me. So in 2 weeks' time, you're going to put together a 5-minute speech. You're going to practice it yourself in front of a mirror, in front of your parents. You're going to time it. Okay. So this is not going to be a 2-minute speech. This is not going to be a 4-minute speech. It's going to be 5. All right. It could be 5.5. It could be 6. It's not going to be 10. All right. You're going to get me a minimum of a 5-minute speech. And it's going to be, well written. All right. And intentional. Give it to me. We're going to go through it. I'm going to time it, make sure that you've got a good speech because I want you to be successful. And then you will deliver it at a troop meeting. We have that on our calendar. So be paying attention. That's going to be coming up in a week or 2. So it's a night just for us to share all of our presentations from our communication merit badge and other activities. Okay. So start putting together your idea of what it is, write it out, practice it with me, make sure that you're good to go, and then we'll schedule a time for you to do it in front of the group. I'm not going to just throw you in front of the group and say, go for it, and then come up that you're only 3 minutes and you're not successful. I want to put you in front of the group, make sure that you're prepared and ready to go. Okay? All right, so start working, thinking about your speeches. Okay, this is another one that's very similar to some of the other ones we talked about, right? We want to make sure that we do a good job of putting good work into this so we get out of it what we're hoping to. All right. So in this case, we want to interview someone you know fairly well. Okay. This is somebody that we know fairly well, somebody we like, somebody we respect because of that person's position, because of some talent that they have, because of some job they get to do, or some other life experiences or adventures that they've been on. All right. So we want to pick someone that is important to us. Okay. Somebody that resonates with us. Okay. And it has to be a living person. It has to be a real person because we need to listen to, we need to talk to that person. We need to interview them. So we're going to ask them who they are, what makes them tick, what was their experience that you're trying to share, how did they grow up, what kind of education do they have, what's their family like, what made them into who they are today. Okay, so you want to interview that person to get an understanding of their background that made them into the person of who they are today, that makes them that respected person, that interested person to you. Okay, so they had to get there somehow. What's their journey? So you want to be an active listener when you are doing this with that person. Okay, so you're going to be actively asking them questions. You're going to listen to them. They're going to give you an answer. You're going to ask more questions about that answer to draw out more information that you think would be helpful to talk about and learn about their journey. Okay. Then you're going to prepare an introduction of that person, all of this as if that person was going to be a guest speaker. Okay. So it's going to be tonight. We are going to be having our guest speaker. This guest speaker has achieved A, B, C, and D. They are, from this area. They have this type of education. They've got these achievements. This is why this person is important. This is why you need to listen up, because this is important, because they've got a message that they're going to share with you. And here we are, my person. Okay. That's what you want to do, right? You want to set the stage for who this person is and why we care or should care about listening to what they're going to come up and say. Okay. So you can't write that introduction as to who that person is and why that person is relevant, and persuade me to care about what they have to say if you don't understand them. This person is your product. So it goes back to that previous requirement, right, of being able to sell a product. In this case, you are selling a person through an introduction. Okay. So start thinking about that person. So you're going through, you've gotten logs, you're putting together ideas for a speech, you're thinking about how you want to do your communication of yourself, you're picking a topic for a 5-minute speech, you're picking a person that you want to do an introduction on. Okay, so you're setting these groundworks, right? Don't worry about going off and doing everything. Do the logs, but then start thinking about how your approach to these other requirements. Okay, requirement number 5. Attend a public meeting, city council, school board debate approved by your counselor, where several points of view are given on a single issue. Practice active listening skills, take careful notes of each point of view, prepare an objective report that includes all points of view that were expressed, and share this with your counselor. What I am going to do is I am going to give you a link to a Prince William County School Board meeting. You can watch the school board meeting, and in that, as you're listening, you can pick one of the topics of debate or discussions that might provide a recommendation of which one you should be listening to. And when you do that, you are going to take careful notes of what was the topic, right? So how did they share? How did they make their argument? How did they make their means of communication? How do they try to do persuasion with regards to what I have to say is important? Okay, and you should listen to what I have to say. So different people express it in different ways. Some people are factual, point, little expression. Other people shout and stomp and rant and rave, and others overact and get Grammys and Oscars and things like that, right? So different people communicate in different ways to get people to listen to them. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you some examples that you're going to watch. You're going to write down what was it they're trying to, what is the message that you took away from it, and did they do a good job of communicating that message, yes or no? Okay? So we'll share that with you at our next class. Okay, here's another one that is near and dear to my heart as a Communications Merit Badge counselor, as a Scoutmaster, and as a mentor and a teacher. Okay, requirement number 6 is, with your counselor's approval, develop a plan to teach a skill or inform somebody about something. Prepare teaching aids for your plan, carry out your plan, and with your counselor, determine whether that person has learned what you intended. So this is such an important skill. We do this twice at least, right? We're going to do this for the Communications Merit Badge. You have to teach as part of your life Scout rank requirements, okay? Teaching somebody a skill is super important, right? Being able to teach them ideas is very important. So first part that I want you to start thinking about is just, what is it that you want to teach? You want to teach a requirement? Do you want to teach some sort of skill? All right. We've had people try to teach people how to jump rope, and it didn't work the best. We've had people trying to teach people how to march and things like that. Try to do a magic trick, things like that. It's really comes down to what is a skill that you know inside and out, and again, it's something that you're going to make sure that you feel passionate, that you can be persuasive about to get people's interest in doing. Okay. Once you figure out what that is that you think would be fun for people to learn or have value for people to learn, then come share that idea with me, and then we will talk about how to put together your plan. All right. Because your plan has got to be, what materials do I need to teach it? And then we want to practice, of course, the EDGE method, right? That's how we do things here. Explain stuff, we demonstrate it, guide people through it, and then we step back and enable them to let them do it. All right. So I want to make sure that your plan has that EDGE method included as part of that. Okay. And then again, like we're talking about here, so I'm explaining to you right now. All right. We're gonna go through and once you've got your idea, we'll demonstrate some of that. Hopefully, we're demonstrating a little bit some of it tonight, and then demonstrating it in other meetings where you're seeing how to do that. But then I'm going to guide you through having that plan developed, and then I'm going to enable you to go do it yourself. So we're even using the EDGE method for just putting that together, and then you're going to do the EDGE method on your own. Okay, so just start thinking about what it is that you want to do. So we're going through, we're going to put in a plan together for everything in our class. All right, we're getting close to the end. Number 7, it's another choose your own adventure. All right, A, write to the editor of a magazine or your local newspaper to express your opinion or share information on any subject you choose. Caveat, Scout appropriate. All right, whatever you do is always going to be Scout appropriate when in Scouts. All right, you're not going to write an opinion that is offensive and embarrassing from a scouting perspective. Okay. You will then send your message by fax, email, or regular mail. How it is that I know you're going to do that? Because you're going to write that letter. You're going to choose what your subject is. We're going to talk about what that subject is, make sure it's appropriate. You're going to then write that opinion. Okay, so it's going to be a introduction of, hi, I'm writing about this. This is how I define that opinion. This is why you should care about this opinion. And in summary, this is the action that I think people should take, do, or whatever based upon my opinion. Okay. You're going to write that, and then you're going to share that with me so that I see that you've written a nice, polite, good opinion, and we're going to discuss, what went well, what didn't go well, something like that, to help you be a better communicator. And then you're going to send it off. Okay. If you send it and I never see it, yes, a Scout is trustworthy, but in life we need to trust and verify. So you need to share with me that letter that you've written before sending it, so that I can verify that you did actually what you did, and hopefully you get a response back. I would love to see that response back. Okay, so this is a simple, straightforward one. B, create a web page or a blog of special interest to you. All right. Not everybody has the technical skills to do that. This is something that's a little bit more complicated. If you have that technical skill and that creativity bug that you want to do something like that, by all means, first come to me and let's discuss what it is that you're going to put out there. Okay. Once you have a good topic, then we can see how it is that you're going to meet those. All right. But B is not the most popular. The last one is C. Use desktop publishing to produce a newsletter, brochure, or flyer, or other printed material for your troop or crew, class of school, or other group. Include at least one article or photograph or illustration. This is another one that I really like, because this is one where we can look at saying, what activity do we have coming up that we want to share? Do we have a fundraiser? Do we have a Weeblos camp out? Do we have a signing day? What is it that we have as an activity that we want to share and communicate about um, to the public, to other scouts, something like that. And so putting this together not only is a great way of meeting the requirement, it helps me out as well. Yeah, I'm totally selfish. So help me communicate to others the greatness of our unit and what we're doing and how they should care about being invested in doing something that we're doing. Okay. So this is definitely one that I would encourage. Um, Tell me what you have for an idea of what you want to support, and then we can put together a plan for doing that. Okay, so start with what is it that you're interested, you have an idea of what you want to support, or I would like to do this. Is there something I can do to help to take off my list? Okay. Okay. Another fun one here. Plan a troop or crew court of honor, campfire program, or interfaith worship service. Have the Patrol Leaders Council approve it, then write the script and prepare the program. Serve as the master of ceremonies. All right. So this really comes down to a compilation of what we've done above, right? We have some sort of event or message that we want to communicate. So be it a court of honor, we have recognition. We want to provide recognition to the scouts for all the goodness they've done. For a campfire program, we want to communicate scout spirit. So that's good humor, that's fun, all sorts of wittiness and things like that, that we want to communicate and make people feel happy. The other part of it, the last part is an interfaith worship service. A scout is reverent. And so being able to do some sort of interfaith worship service is how do we communicate how a scout is reverent and putting together some sort of ceremony dedicated to that 12th point of the scout law. Okay. So pick one of those things or come ask me if there's an upcoming opportunity to do one of those. And then we will take a look at, what does good look like, right? So it's taking on the responsibility for writing the script. And, like a campfire program is not 2 skits. I mean, it's a campfire program. You've got songs, you've got skits, you've got, run-ons, you've got a solid campfire program. And that means persuading people to participate in that. That's part of the communication. It's not just writing down what people are going to do, it's persuading people to do a good job and give yourself a variety of different things. And then actually come out and MC the whole thing. And that is, your introduction of what the skit is and telling people who's on deck, right? So it's that your communication plan to make sure that your ceremony runs smoothly. Okay. So tell me about what it is that you're interested in doing, and then we'll talk about in more detail what good looks like to make sure that you, again, are successful in not just checking the box and standing up there in front of people and saying that you are the master of ceremonies, but truly being the master of ceremonies. As is typical with most every merit badge, we always end it normally in the same way. A merit badge is intended to learn a skill, learn a trade, learn about a hobby. But at the end of the day, this is something that, we could turn into a lifestyle choice. And so this could turn into something to say, hey, I really like doing this. I want to do more. Can I make a living doing this? And the answer to that absolutely is yes. And so what we want to do is to help you be prepared for life. And so in this case is being prepared being prepared for life. Does that mean being active, being employed in the communication field. Okay, so you're going to find out about 3 different career opportunities in communication. Then you're going to go through and pick the one that you're most interested about, and then find out what it's the education, training, and experience required for this profession. Then you're going to discuss with your counselor what your findings are and explain why this profession might interest you. I'm going to break this down a little bit more. Okay, so I want you to pick 3 different opportunities. And let's discuss those 3 first. Make sure that, yep, these are valid ones. And then if there's something that we can expand upon for those 3 different areas that maybe you hadn't thought about. And then once we have the discussion about those opportunities, then you pick one from that stands out to you from our conversation and do the next step. So again, as part of your homework assignment for class number 1 is just to start to think about 3 career opportunities so that we can have that discussion to narrow it down then to one that you want to do some research on. Okay. And so we've come to the end of class number 1. We're going to wrap this up. So you've got some homework assignments that we discussed up above. So we've talked about each of the requirements. We've talked about, for many of them, what does good look like and what's the expectation. We've talked about what it is that you want to start to do and complete during your first week of class. So if necessary, go back through, rewatch this class, take some notes down, communication, as to making sure, yep, next week I am going to come prepared with my logs. I'm going to come prepared with my ideas on how I'm going to approach things and my choices and stuff like that. And so that we can then work out our plans and our speeches and things like that for following weeks. Okay, so happy to have you on this journey. At the end of it all, my goal is to make sure that not only you fulfilling the requirements, but you're fulfilling the requirements successfully and getting the intent of why communication is important out of this class, and hopefully make you think about how you can be a better communicator. Okay, thank you very much.